Hello, my Jamaicanomics Global Collective. Here's the truth that most people do not want to hear. When we rejected exploitation right after we got emancipation, you know what happened? In doing so, we also rejected infrastructure. Let's get right into the video, shall we? My name is Lady Elizabeth, owner of Jamaicanomics Hub, and welcome. Let me ask you something, my global Jamaicanomics collective, something very uncomfortable. Why do we fear scale? Why do we continue to do things on an individual rate and burn out? Why do we do that? But we celebrate struggle culture. Have you ever sat back and recognized how we celebrate struggle culture? And we pass it down from generation to generation to generation? When are we going to stop doing that? Let me ask you some very important questions. Why does working together still feel dangerous to most of you? It's your mindset. Because you think that everybody's bad and everybody's out to get you. Why do we stay intentionally small even when we can grow and expand as a culture, as individuals, and as a nation? Why do we continue to stay small? But we're saying we're little but we're talawa. Do you understand what the word talawa mean? We're little but we're big and are indomitable on the world stage. Why are we not dominating AI? Why are we not dominating coming together? Why do we think that coordination feels like somebody's trying to control us? You know why? Because our mind is still under the colonizers' thinking. Because they used to dominate most of enslaved black people. Let me ask another question, my Jamaicanomics Collective. Who taught us that independence means doing everything alone? That's not what independence means. Why are we so proud of autonomy? Oh, yes, I'm such and such and such. And broke as a joke. Why are we so proud of autonomy but suspicious of collaboration? Do you know some of the biggest billion-dollar businesses in the world collaborate? Look at Melinda and Bill Gates. You think Bill Gates built that thing by himself? Look at Jeff Bezos with Amazon. You think, even though he's divorced from his wife, do you think that he built it by himself? Most major brands, successful billion-dollar and multi-million-dollar brand, they were built on collaboration. Let me get into the psychological layer of this whole entire thing. I'm going to tell you what it is. It came from colonization, but it's no excuse for us to continue it like this. We fear scale. Scale to us feels threatening. You know why? Because large systems once meant exploitation. And you know what? I couldn't even agree with you more because I used to fear the same thing too until I recognized the fear was in my mind. That trauma still live in our choices today in Jamaica and the global Caribbean. Why do we see autonomy as safety? You know why? Working alone, we can depend on ourselves, and it's really true. It feels safer because no one can control you. But safety is not the same as growth. Two different things. Because autonomy is really causing you to hesitate to grow. You're not growing. Control versus growth. You know why we in the global Caribbean chooses control over growth? Because it feels secure. Because when the slave master used to tell us what to do, we no longer want to do that. But let me explain something to you, my Jamaicanomics people. Growth requires shared risk and shared systems. Let me ask you a question. Any one of you, when you go and sit down in a chair, right? Do you hesitate sitting on the chair? No, you don't. Because you're trusting that the chair is not going to fall apart. But if you look at the chair and the chair has three legs instead of four, you're going to hesitate. Right? That's the same exact thing that happened during colonization to enslave people. And that is the reason why we choose autonomy over safety. We choose fear over attempting to scale and getting bigger. And we choose control over growth. Let's break that cycle today. Now, let's look at the economic layer of this whole entire thing. We just did the psychological layer. Let's look at the economic layer because these things are important, you know. And it might sound boring to you, but it's very important for you to know. I'm educating you. Infrastructure. What is infrastructure? Infrastructure is the foundation. I have a way. I have an explanation for it. Is the foundation that actually allows production to happen. Factories, logistics, energy, transportation, and organized supply chains. Just to name a few. I'm not saying you're going to get into this, I'm just educating you. So listen. Coordination. What is coordination? Coordination is aligning people, skills, and resources towards one productive goal instead of an isolated effort. That's what it is. And so these psychological issues we're having regarding working together, the economic issues we're having working together, is because our minds have not been decolonized. So we're actually giving the colonizers' grandchildren the permission to create as much wealth as they want to create in our Jamaican culture and in our Caribbean culture by simply not escaping our colonized mind. The way we look at cooperation, most of us in the global Caribbean see that as exploitation. And all cooperation does is it means that it's a shared building or shared benefit. They're not the same thing. Exploitation, exploitation is one-sided extraction. Cooperation is two-sided winning, two sides winning. Let me prove it to you how God operates as a corporation. You want to get the scriptures? Two are better than one. This does not apply just to marriage. It can be anything. Two are better than one. Something I heard in Jamaica recently. I heard on a Jamaican YouTube channel. One hand can't clap. One foot can't skip. It's true. One eye is on. If you're blind in one eye, your peripheral vision is going to be absolutely different. You're not going to be able to see on the other side properly unless you physically turn around. Two multiplies capacity. I'm educating you now. One, only one multiplies exhaustion. That's why most of us are so tired. It's not because we don't work hard. We are very, very hard workers. But we have to adopt the principle because guess what? This principle, my Jamaicanomics Collective, came actually from the Bible. Two are better than one. One multiplies exhaustion, two multiplies capacity, two multiplies expansion. Even Jesus built with community, 12 disciples, and he had three close ones at the end of his tenure on earth. Right? We impact scales through what? Through people. through community, not isolation. Let me give you just some little truth bombs here. BOMBS. Just some truth bombs. And I just want you to sit and think about it for a minute or two, or however long you want to take to think about it. Fragmentation, my Jamaicanomics Global Collective, is not freedom. It's trauma. It's a trauma response. And I experience it. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. You got to drop that and begin to renew your mind. Working alone feels safe, but safety is not prosperity. Safety is burnout in most cases. The other truth bomb is that we left the plantation, but the plantation never left us. We left the plantation, but guess what? We never replaced it with logistics. And that's the reason why so many global Caribbean nations are in poverty today. Just take a look at what Hurricane Melissa did to Jamaica and the rest of, look at what it did to Jamaica and Cuba and the rest of the Caribbean nations. Let me explain something to you. Do you understand, my global collective, why fragmentation keeps us small? Fragmentation spreads effort thin and prevents scale. Coordination builds nations. Coordination allows production to grow beyond individual capacity. One of the things that I am disappointed in is that when I was growing up, my mom was a teacher, right, in the Jamaican school system. And so she used to teach us from we were very young to learn to read and write and everything, to speak proper English, vocabulary, and those kinds of things. But I have observed recently that Jamaica, the youth, for some reason, and I'm not sure if it's just the school system alone or the house or the home system, is perpetrating dunce culture. We have to get to a point where we begin to read again. We begin to open up our eyes again. We begin to understand vocabulary again. Because it is literally preventing you from growing. A lot of times when you stay in hustle culture, you know what? Hustle culture becomes your cocoon. Because you're afraid to speak, you're afraid to negotiate, you're afraid to be bold, you're afraid to execute. And you're always going to stay small if you stay in that condition. Why cooperation will be the next evolution for Jamaica and the global Caribbean. You know why? Because no modern economy grows without shared systems and collective production. And mark my word, if it's not affecting you now as a business person or a side hustle person, it's going to eventually affect you in the long run. Because trust me, you're going to burn out. And you're going to look back and say, you know what? Lady Elizabeth, the Jamaicanomics Hub lady, she told us so. So, in closing, what I would say, we don't need more hustle, my Jamaicanomics Global Collective. We need more structure and we need more cooperation. If you are ready, my Jamaicanomics Global Collective, if you're ready to move from isolation to systems, follow Jamaicanomics Hub. I'm inviting you. I need you to subscribe. And then go to the video in the comment section and comment anything. If you learn one thing from this video today, if it made any kind of sense to you as to the direction that you need to turn and learn and grow and change, then put it in the comments. I want to hear from you. I want your feedback. If you are ready to move from isolation to systems, follow Jamaicanomics Hub. This is where the rebuild begins. And don't forget, I am building what is called a Jamaicanomics Rebuilder's Guide, which will help you, my Jamaicanomics Collective, to cast a vision, to focus on one business, to niche it down. It will have a mindset section that's really going to help you to figure out where you want to go and what belief systems you need to drop and which new systems you need to pick up. Along with that will come two free guides as well. And that is going to be launching on March 6th. So I'd like for you to look out for it, because I just don't want to teach you and educate you. I also want you to execute. So look out for the pre-sale link in the video. God bless you. Thank you so much for allowing me to share. I appreciate you. Let's grow together. And my Jamaicanomics Global Collective, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.